Hello, RJB here from RJB TV, and today we're back with a replay, maybe a set of replays, between George Brown and HamburgerSasu. I know I've been featuring HamburgerSasu a lot in, well, pretty much on my entire channel. We've had a lot of HamburgerSasu, and we've also had a lot of George Brown. But then you might be wondering, I've never seen George Brown on this channel before. Well, that's because George Brown is in fact the player Leebokgu, and he's using the name George Brown. He's been using it for a couple of months now. I couldn't figure out who the guy was. I know that the guy had a really high EAPM and a pretty high APM, which is usually a pretty good indicator to have somewhat of a good guess or an estimate on who the player might be. But then of course there's quite a number of players who share similar APM to EAPM ratios. So even then, it's not always an educated guess. It's sometimes just pure guesswork. But to the match itself, HamburgerSasu took a random. He's playing the yellow Protoss here on the bottom left of the map, and he's up against George Brown, who's here playing the pink. I might be colorblind, but I think that is the pink Terran, right above HamburgerSasu on the middle left of the map. Starts off with 10 barracks, followed up by another depot and another barracks. Whether he will go for the third barracks or not, I am not entirely sure, but it looks to be a 2-barrack build order. Otherwise, we would have already seen... barrack number 3. Now, sorry, I was trying to figure out the F hotkeys. I messed them up a little bit, so you couldn't quite get it down correctly. But now I've got them down correctly. There's nothing more to worry about. So yeah, both players starting off scouting. HamburgerSasu starts off with the choke after his +1 nexus into a forge, into a pylon in the front, into a gateway. Then of course 2 cannons are in the front. Some players like to make 1, he likes to make 2 just to be sure. And lucky for him, George Brown scouted cross map first instead of going down to the bottom. Because if he had gone down to the bottom, he might have been able or capable to stop those cannons from getting up. In which case HamburgerSasu would have had to pull some probes. Maybe 3, maybe 4 probes to his choke to prevent those marines from taking down the cannons while they're warping in. But considering that didn't happen, HamburgerSasu is completely fine and on track. He's on schedule. 6 probes have moved onto the gas. He's got a cybernetics core on the way right here. And Leebokgu, having only 2 barracks, can keep making marines while adding on 2 command centers. So when you go for only 2 barracks, that is something you can afford. There is the academy. He isn't making depots at the moment because this one is about to finish up. We'll just open up his supply cap. Same for this one. The timing is pretty neat. He's going for the 3rd barrack. I'm assuming he's gonna try to bust through the front here. Although that might become pretty difficult given that the marine count on 2 barracks is not that high, and I think HamburgerSasu is going to find out the amount of marines that George Brown has there with this Zealot. The Zealot comes in, he gets a scout, pulls it back, immediately prevents from losing that one, and adds 2 more cannons there to the front just to make sure George Brown cannot bust through the front with medics and stimmer upgrade. And we've got single side facility there on the way. We've got a Templar's Archive there being warped in already. He's not going for double robo, he's going for single robo, Citadel, and Templar's Archive. Leads me to believe he's going most likely for Dark Templars, which is usually the option they go for. But given that he only has a single gateway finished up, and this one is going to finish up before these 2 gateways finish up, maybe he's going to sync up perfectly. No, it's not going to sync up perfectly. This one's going to finish up first, which would mean that he would have a delayed Dark Templars coming out. So, which leads me to believe he's going for Storm Upgrade first. There is the support bay, still only on a single robo, not adding on a second one. Storm Upgrade should be on the way now. Wait, he's going for Dark Templars nonetheless. Gonna take a while before he's got 4 of them queued up. 2 more zealots there, ready to intercept those marines once they do decide to move out. 33 against 34 workers. Engineering bay has just finished up. Turrets are on the way here on the bottom side. Making an engineering bay there all ready to lift it up on over the hill. Got Psionic Storm now on the way. Shuttle speed on the way as well. They're actually going for a single Dark Templar instead of going for 2. There's Robotics Facility number 2, so he is on track with his strategy. Templar is now on the way as well. Another shuttle there being made as well. He's trying to fly this Dark Templar over the hill. At least he's going to attempt to. He finds a nice little hole here to kill that single SCV, but the Dark Templar pays with it. It actually manages to escape, which is pretty nuts. But Leebokgu has got another scan, and now the Dark Templar does go down after killing only a single Marine and a single SCV. Not sure whether that's worth it, but at least this turret got shut down for now. He's going to have to put... It's almost finished. He's just going to have to click on it when SCV wants, and it starts finishing. So Marines are on location to intercept this shuttle. He's got no scan to use for detecting the front here, although I think he might be using that scan very soon. Turrets being put there on the top side as well. Got 2 shuttles loaded up. Only with not a lot of units. 2 Templars. Shuttle speed has not yet finished. It's about to finish in a couple of seconds. He's got 1 Zealot, 1 Templar. So not a lot of distraction in there. He picks up another Zealot. Pretty smart. He might pick up this one as well once he's moved it up there to the top side. The front here is not being walled off by Leebokgu, but Leebokgu doesn't really need a walled off front at the moment because there's not much danger for the front. Because HamburgerSasu didn't go for a combination that can try to bust through the front. Does have Zealots on the way now. Doesn't have Zealot lags finished up yet. Drop now comes in from the top side. Let's track this one. He tries to avoid the Marines. Manages to avoid the Marines. And the Templar actually gets sniped immediately with a pretty good target fire there from Leebokgu. Very risky business to rely on your reaction speed and your clicking speed to snipe the Templar. Because of course there's a high chance you're going to get stormed, but another drop there coming in from the bottom side. He manages to dodge the aggression from the Marines and takes a pretty good shot there on a couple of Marines and a tank. And the second tank almost goes down, but tank number 2 stays alive. Marines ran away to safety. They are on low HP though, because they did take some of that splash damage. Or is this just damage from stim upgrade? There's no medics to heal. They're there in the front. Those Marines are very quickly gonna die on the next drop. Drop number 3 is not yet being loaded up. The shuttles are now just now finishing. It's got 4 Templars, 5 Zealots, 6 Zealots there for a total of 10 units. Gonna be shy of 2. Just gonna send that one in. Wait for another round of shuttles to come up. He's getting on. He's almost got his level 1 weapon upgrade finished up there. Or is it level 2? Level 1 it is. He's got Zealot lags almost finished up. He's got Templar energy already on the way. Just so that Templar start with 62 energy instead of starting with 50. It's very useful, because then you can start sending in those shuttle drops a little bit quicker. You don't have to wait for energy on your Templar before they can storm. Yeah, he's filling out his base nicely, and Leebokgu is doing the same, filling out his base nicely. He's got a 4th factory on the way, drop coming in from the southern side, makes it in all the way. Leebokgu dodges the storms and preserves his SCVs. Pretty damn good job there by Leebokgu. Prevents himself from losing his economy, prevents himself from losing his income, and he now puts a clock on HamburgerSasu's progression into this game. Because now is the time that HamburgerSasu has to start hitting some stuff. Because theoretically speaking, Leebokgu can already go for the counterattack. It would expose him to storm drops, because he would no longer have anything to defend himself against those storm drops with. But he can go for the counterattack here if he wants to and elects to do so. Because he's big enough, definitely big enough to go for that attack. HamburgerSasu is trying to find the way in, but every single area is covered. Although this area is not covered by Marines, but this area is covered by turrets. There's only an opening here, and maybe an opening here. But Leebokgu can stim those Marines and react quick enough, just like he does here. Templars being loaded there on the low ground next to the hill. Gonna try to keep those Marines away. Marines coming up there to the top side. He's going to storm on them. He's got double storm here. One storm comes down. He kills the Templar itself as well. Tries to take down a couple of those turrets, but now he comes in from the bottom side while Leebokgu's attracted there on the top side, and he dodges the storm, but still loses a couple of those SCVs. I think he lost about 7 of them, but nothing that he cannot afford to lose. So that is pretty well handled by Leebokgu. Responds really quick. Now HamburgerSasu is having trouble dealing damage. And as we've seen in the past, though, HamburgerSasu can, even if he only starts landing hits and blows late into the game, he can pretty handily and quickly finish a game if given the opportunity. He's going for... He's got a fleet beacon out, but not enough starports. He's adding on more anti-drop defense because he didn't have that much anti-drop defense. Leebokgu now throws down the scans. He scans the front portion here, scans the side portion there as well, and sees that his shuttle is leaving towards the right side of the map. So he already knows it's not coming from the bottom side, so he can reposition his units to intercept that drop coming in from the right side of his base. Already a carrier exposition being made here on the bottom side outside of Leebokgu's scan vision. He has only been scanning the base, shuttle there being chased away by the Wraith, and HamburgerSasu seems to have found the opening that I was mentioning earlier. The Marines are coming in, he's unloading, he repositions the shuttle really well. Templar there on the low, Templar on the low as well. 2 Templars managed to unload, but no storms came down because Leebokgu really has some awesome sniping ability with those Marines being stimmed up and taking down those Templars before the storm animation can finish. It's really well played. He's got armor and shield here on the way. He's got no weapon upgrade on the way, but he's already on level 1 weapon. He's got cybernetics core, getting that air armor, and I assume he's also going to get air weapons here. Oh, he's only got it on the way. He's got interceptor capacity on the way there as well. So he's just going to keep up that drop pressure. And this is honestly one of those situations where Leebokgu's willingness and preparedness to camp it out might backfire against him, because these are a lot of starports coming down here for Leebokgu. He scans the base once again. He sees the shuttles coming in there from the bottom side, and HamburgerSasu tries to go in all the way, and he will go in all the way. Templars there unloading on the low ground. It's 3-4 Templars there. The Templars don't seem to have enough energy. They do have enough energy. He's having trouble selecting them, and he doesn't get a great storm off on the SCVs. He just killed a couple of Marines there, a couple of SCVs on the gas, but nothing too serious dies once again. So Leebokgu now at the point where he can start reaching critical mass. He hasn't been adding all that much onto his base. He has been adding a lot of depots, getting upgrades, getting turrets, positioning his tanks in such a way that they cover every single area of his base. This all is covered. Only the top portion here is uncovered, but that's not that relevant. Well, there are a couple of supply depots here that HamburgerSasu might want to take down. At least he could have wanted to take them down. He's not doing it because it's not on his agenda. But he could have gone for it. What he really wants to get up is these carriers. And Leebokgu has to start contemplating and muldering about the option of potentially going for the might hit counterattack. Because time is ticking now for Leebokgu. The time is ticking for Leebokgu because HamburgerSasu is going for carriers outside of Leebokgu's vision range, and Leebokgu does not yet know that those carriers are on the way. He might be assuming that they're on the way though, because otherwise maybe a frontal zealot attack might have already happened. Yeah, this is the case. This is what I mean. Leebokgu feels that he has been camping for long enough. So at 13 minutes in, he decides to finally move out. He's had some opportunities, he's had some chances to move out earlier, but he's waited until this moment. But that might already be a little bit too late because there's already 4 carriers out and more carriers are spawning. Allow me to correct myself. 5 carriers are out and 3 more are about to be spawning. So that's going to be 8 carriers out very soon here for HamburgerSasu. He's got a ground force there as well, and there's not a lot of anti-air here for Leebokgu. I don't see an observer yet amongst those carriers for HamburgerSasu, but he does have that observatory on the way, so he can add an observer into the mix to help fight against those raids. But Leebokgu is pressing onto the front here. Templar there on the high ground, ready to storm. Right there doing some recon, but it's going to not get a lot of information and pay for it with his life. Now the carriers are coming in here from the bottom side, but they still have some interceptors in the making. More carriers now being... Oh, he's going for Corsairs. Corsairs are a great option against those raids, but the raids here catching those carriers off guard, and he's gonna have to run for the cannons, but he might lose 2, maybe 3 of his carriers before he reaches safety. Yeah, he lost 3 of his carriers before reaching safety, which now means he's gonna have to wait for more carriers to come in from that carrier expo, while these Goliaths and raids are there to take down interceptors. So HamburgerSasu is kind of pushed into a corner, and Leebokgu hasn't really had much issue with defending against HamburgerSasu's aggression. Also do note, HamburgerSasu's APM seems to be a little bit lower than the usual, or at least by 50. Usually he's playing on 330 or 350, so he might not be in his best condition. Not entirely sure, but at least he's trying to duke it out here with Leebokgu. He's not letting it affect his mental. The Corsairs there are keeping those raids away. Observers are on the way as well, although the Observers actually never finished because he lost the Robos there. So he has to start doing something else. He's got to start making some new Robos. There's a Robo on the way. 2 Robos are almost finished up. So we will soon be seeing those Observers that will allow him to fight against those raids. But turrets being placed here on the low ground for Leebokgu, and those turrets are absolutely amazing against interceptors. And because HamburgerSasu knows that those interceptors and carriers are not going to do all that much, he's already making a gateway exposition. That's not how you use this. He's making a gateway proxy here on the other side of the map. Yeah, so we can spam out mass Zealots and Dragoons probably, and flank these units here inside of his base. Throws down a disruption web, trying to stop those Goliaths from firing on the area units, but he's not really doing all that much because there's so many turrets, so many raids. The raids going in for the Arbiter. Arbiter goes down. Arbiter number 2 there also being fired on, but the Corsairs this time take down those raids all too quick. Observers are not yet here in the mix. No observers. I see no observers there. He's sending in some shuttles to just take focus away. More turrets being placed here on the low ground for Leebokgu. He's already on 1-2 upgrades, whereas HamburgerSasu is on 2-2 for his air. This is pretty much an even fight that might even be in favor of the Terran, because Goliaths with level 2 weapon upgrades are so damn strong against the carriers. Of course, those turrets there as well. He's already started production here on the other side of the map, but the gateway count is not that high, and honestly it is really difficult to build a new base while also defending your main base at the same time. Pretty great stasis there, slows down the push from Leebokgu, but Leebokgu is, well, he's pretty much already taken over half of HamburgerSasu's base, so HamburgerSasu might actually be too far behind on the facts here to keep up with Leebokgu. And now he goes, is he already going in? He's not gonna ball up a mass of gateway units there on the other side. More carriers now coming in, but they still have to build their interceptors, so Leebokgu still has the advantage, and now tanks are rolling closer and closer to the workers, although this one is still out of range because this is the range of that tank, so he can not yet fire on the probes, but he can start firing on other stuff. He unsieges it, he wants to bring it a little bit closer, but he's incapable of bringing it closer, so he's going to take down that cannon there on the top side first and roll in closer and closer bit by bit. There he goes. He's going to go for the kill on the probes, and he gets a shot up on the probes, and most of the probes go down. Only 35 probes are left, but luckily for HamburgerSasu, he's got a lot of gas, he's got a lot of minerals, and he doesn't need all that many probes to keep making interceptors, because interceptors are quite cheap, but he does have to put all those probes there on the minerals. His attack there from the backside has failed. Taken down there, tanks are here. He pretty much did lose all the tanks he had inside of HamburgerSasu's base, so there's still a very nihil chance for HamburgerSasu to go on the pushback. The Nexus almost went down there to the tanks, so Leebokgu has been doing a pretty great job. And this is a lot of turrets. I think that's about 25 or 30 turrets there inside of HamburgerSasu's base that are just making his life absolutely miserable. And still adding gateways here on the other side of the map. He is, though, not on 200 supply cap, so that is already, the loss of pilots in his main base is starting to hurt him. And the carriers being incapable of really using their interceptors is also starting to hurt him. This tank is almost within range of the Nexus. He's going to be firing on the Nexus. He wants to take it down so damn quick, but he's not getting the chance to. Valkyrie's there in the mix. Goliath's there on the low ground, firing on the carriers. Now Zealots coming from those gateways, attacking, but a backdoor attack is also coming in here from HamburgerSasu. And this backdoor attack might I wanted to say might seal the deal, but this is actually already a done deal in favor of Leebokgu. Although more units are streaming in. But the carriers here are not having that great of a day. Also, the probe count of HamburgerSasu is down to 25, so he's actually going to be running out of money before Leebokgu gets overrun. So a whole lot more gateway units there spawning on the other side. But we're now seeing that HamburgerSasu is pretty much running out of all of his money. He's got no money left, he's making probes, but he's losing these interceptors so stupidly quick, and it costs a lot of money to make interceptors, actually. At least when you're losing them this quick. If you're not losing interceptors that quick, they're pretty cheap to handle. But each interceptor costing 25. And he's probably making 6 of them at a time every single second, because all those turrets there are taking them down so quick. But units coming in from behind, ready to take out those turrets. But Leebokgu is already taking control over the middle. He is soon to be hitting his supply cap because he's made a lot of extra factories there inside of his base. So he is capable of matching HamburgerSasu's unit mass. Because HamburgerSasu simply cannot reproduce his lost units all that quick. Because his minerals, as I've already mentioned many times before, are just that low. 39 probes now, soon to be on 40. Leebokgu on 62. Leebokgu here pushing in with his mass tanks and vultures. Those vultures are amazing against the carriers, but there's pretty much no anti-air here in the mix. I don't see any anti-air actually. There's no raids, a couple of Goliaths there inside of Leebokgu's base. But now the carriers are on the pushback. Carriers are actually on the pushback, and he might actually do it. No, wait, no. It's not possible because those tanks are being dropped there on the probes. The probes are going down and the probes are getting taken down one by one. Only 8 probes left and 50 minerals for HamburgerSasu, and this is the end for HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu seems to be... It seems like he is going to bite the dust because HamburgerSasu couldn't match up with Leebokgu for this game at least. He's going for a little bit of a last-ditch effort here on the top side, shuttle those units in, or maybe he ran them in. Gonna try to do some damage, but there's just no way. And HamburgerSasu realizes that there's no way that he can hang on and take home the W, which goes to Leebokgu's side. And Leebokgu runs him over with a pretty well-timed counterattack that happened right before the carriers could really get a footing, which is very important. Now, do note that if HamburgerSasu had actually hit any of those drops, his carrier timing would have been absolutely perfect, because he would have slowed down Leebokgu just enough to get them up and running with full interceptor capacity all filled out and going for the attack and harass there on the sides. But Leebokgu, George Brown, did a really good job there. He didn't lose a single worker. Well, he lost about 6 or 7, but 6 or 7 is so negligible when you've got 3 command centers, and he turned that into 4 command centers, so he just held that without all that much problem at all. And yeah, I'm feeling quite well, so let's do another game between these two and see how that one pans out. Alright, I'm gonna stick with only 2 games for this series. Like the series is a little bit longer, but I don't want to be casting games for too long. Maybe if by the end of this replay I feel like I want to go for more, I'll do more of this set. But at the moment, I cast the first one of this set. This is game number 2. Score is 1-0 in favor of George Brown, also known as Leebokgu. The loser is sadly HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu in my most recent videos has not been doing all that well. If we're just looking at my videos, he's on a 6-game losing streak. No. He's on a 7-game losing streak, I think. Yeah, he's just been having a bad series on my channel now. Losing most of his matches. Do note that he's losing though against pretty much the top of the cram. I forgot how you say it. He's losing against the top of the top Korean fastest map player. So let's just put it like that. But what's his one saying? Like top of the cram or something? I'm not sure what the saying is. Top of the pyramid. Top of the hierarchy. let's just completely move away from the topic of the top. Let's just focus on this, because that's quite embarrassing. I was kind of messing that up completely. Like sometimes you think of a word and you've used it a lot, but it just won't come to mind. And that's one of those cases where the word just wasn't coming to mind. It wouldn't pop up in my mind at all. Just poof, it's gone. No longer exists. Anyway, HamburgerSasu is going for a slightly different build from last game. He's going for 2 gateways so he can get some of that early pressure up on George Brown. And he goes for, of course, after the 2 gateways, he goes for the +1 nexus. 2 gateways should just be sufficient to keep up some pressure on Leebokgu. Leebokgu now starts scouting the map. He goes for spot number 3 first, or is he going for spot number 5? I'm sure he's not going for spot number 6 because that marine is deviating from the pathway just a little bit, or am I wrong? Ah, damn it, I'm wrong. I thought I was going here because the marine was going a little bit zigzaggy over the middle, but I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. George Brown going for 8-10 barrack, 10-10 barrack, and then, of course, well, it's 10-16 barrack, but nonetheless. He's going for 3 barrack build. Marines there on the middle. He's found HamburgerSasu's location on the map. I'm just going to keep it with these colors because I like these colors a lot. I like pale blue. It looks kind of easy to see on the minimap, and it doesn't really blend that badly with white. HamburgerSasu ignoring the Marines, goes straight for the aggression on the SCVs. Not sure why though. He could have probably killed some of those Marines and it would have been worth it. But he wants to take down that +1 command center first. But the SCV manages to run away and he manages to actually deal no damage to Leebokgu, holding this really well. SCVs there in the front do go down though. Zealous there on inside of his base, still running back and forth, being a nuisance and forcing Leebokgu to stay inside of his base with those Marines. At the same time though, 2 Zealots coming in from the front. 2 Zealots also here in his choke. Those Zealots there in the front though are being chased away, and the other Zealot that is still alive inside of his base gets taken down. Their gas is now starting up. He's got 500, 600 minerals, so he might even add on a 3rd command center. Although now he's going to try to go for the counterattack. HamburgerSasu is a little bit late with his cannons there, but he's got 6 Zealots, and those 6 Zealots should just be enough to fight against all those Marines. Unless Leebokgu micros this insanely well, but the Zealots are already in between the Marines. The Marines are now being microed away though. He's doing this pretty well, but both players are getting on each other quite well. HamburgerSasu, I think, has managed to buy himself just enough time to get that cannon up there in the back and to get more Zealot reinforcements into the scene. That's on his 2nd cannon. And Cybercore is finished. He's got a Robo on the way there as well. This is the Robo. And there is the Citadel of Dune. There's a small chance he's going for Robo number 2. And he might be going for the frontal double Reaver attack. Probe is moving into location for the double Robo. No, he's not making the double Robo. He's pulling back the probe. And there is robotics. So facility number 2. So he is going for that absolutely delicious strategy. It's honestly my favorite strategy to watch. Speed Zealots, 1 shuttle, 2 robotics, and a frontal attack. It's a really nice strategy. And the timing is usually around 6:20. Whether he will hit that mark, I'm not sure. But Zealot lags are now starting up. He's got level 1 weapon upgrade also on the way for those Zealots. And Leebokgu still keeping those Marines there in the front, just to keep those Zealots on their toes, but also to know when HamburgerSasu is moving out with his Zealots. And he's starting up a choke, building a depot there in the front to start a wall, to keep those Zealots out. No bunkers there yet. He's got engineering bay finished up. He's going for barrack number 4, because it is believed that you need more Marines on spots number 12 and 6 to defend against shuttle drops, but also against frontal attacks. So Zealots there managed to catch out those Marines there. Most of the Marines have gone down. They didn't pull back to base, so that's a pretty amazing pickup there for HamburgerSasu, whittling down the Marine count for Leebokgu, which exposes Leebokgu all the more to the frontal attack that's going to be happening soon. But now HamburgerSasu is chewing off more than he can bite, biting off more than he can chew. That's the correct way of saying it. As his Zealots are caught in between 2 groups of Marines, and loses a couple of his Zealots, which weakens his future frontal attack. But he did get himself information on what Leebokgu is up to here in the front. Given that, depending on the information, he could have gone for either just a drop or for a frontal attack as a distraction with the zealots while the shuttle goes in somewhere else. Starport there on the way. Siege tank number 2 on the way. Siege mode on the way there as well. There's no wall here in the front, which is going to make it very easy for these zealots to get in there. But looks like he forgot to make his shuttle, because I don't see a shuttle. 2 Reavers is finished, and that means that the timing attack there on the front is actually not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Usually you go for shuttle, then you go for double Reaver. Pick the Reavers up, go for the frontal attack there with the Reaver on the front here. And given that there's a wide opening here, I think he could have dealt a lot of damage there. Because a wide opening means that those zealots can immediately get on top of the tanks, take down the tanks, while the Reavers take down the bunkers and the Marines. There's the shuttle. But now there's 2 tanks, 3 bunkers. He goes in, flies the shuttle in from the side there, unloads it a little bit far away though, but he unloads them outside of the range of the tanks. But Leebokgu gets a pretty good surround on those Reavers. The Reavers are taking down the Marines though very quickly. Zealots also now on top of the Marines, but the Marines are getting in between. Ooh, that hit was absolutely amazing. Brutal stuff. Brutal stuff there on the Marines. Most of the Marines went down, which should make future attacks from HamburgerSasu a little bit easier. Because now Leebokgu doesn't have all that many Marines to defend himself. He does have 4 barracks to reproduce those Marines and build new ones. But I think the odds are slightly stacked in favor of HamburgerSasu at the moment. Though his worker count is lower than Leebokgu, because Leebokgu went for a very early +2 command center and has not lost any of his workers yet. So HamburgerSasu is in a sense also running behind in the facts, but nonetheless, I do think the odds are stacked in his favor. He doesn't have a Corsair yet for assisting the shuttles with flying in. And the more time he takes, the more Marines Leebokgu can make, the more turrets he can make, and of course the more tanks he'll have out in his base. Yeah, tank drop coming out here for Leebokgu. It flew just over the HamburgerSasu is responding by pulling back his shuttle so he can unload next to the tank. The tank there sieging up. Will the tank get a shot off? The tank gets a shot off and the tank kills nothing at all. That's really good there for HamburgerSasu. The tank gets nothing at all. But the upside is though that HamburgerSasu was forced to pull his probes off his minerals, which will slow down his income for the next 20 or 30 seconds by at least a bit. I'm not sure about how much specifically. I never looked into those numbers, but it's going to slow him down a little bit. So that's an important little detail there that's working out in favor of George Brown. Just a sip of water to refocus my voice so I can keep casting this one. HamburgerSasu is only now hitting his 2nd attack at 9:30. Partially due to him forgetting to make the shuttle the first time around. But he managed to get the Reaver there on the low ground. The Marines are running away. They're actually managing to duck. Ooh, all the Marines go down nonetheless by a single Reaver shot. And now HamburgerSasu is inching closer. He gets a couple of those SCVs and he gets another great shot up on a single Marine. And he doesn't achieve all that much except killing an entire group of Marines. Which is really good for Leebokgu, because Leebokgu can afford to lose an entire group of Marines as long as he keeps those SCVs alive. Because he's now got 4 factories, so more tanks are coming up inside of his base. He's got more and more shuttles, got 2 bunkers there on the sides, really smart. He might need a couple more bunkers there around his main, but this time a real more menacing drop is coming in. These are High Templars, and those High Templars might prove more of a hurdle to overcome for Leebokgu. Leebokgu there sniping the shuttle. He doesn't get the shuttle. He gets the shuttle with the turret there. HamburgerSasu tried to change direction with the shuttle, but didn't quite get it. So great response there from Leebokgu. Manages to once again prevent HamburgerSasu from ever getting close onto those minerals. Another drop there coming in for the bottom side. This time he's within range of those probes, but he doesn't get a shot off. He gets a shot off on the probes, but he only kills about 6 of them. He killed 6. It still hurts HamburgerSasu a little bit to constantly get harassed like that, but he can afford to lose 6. It's nothing serious at all. He's already on 68 probes, so it doesn't hurt him that much. Another drop now coming in. HamburgerSasu is going to have to start hitting his drops, or else Leebokgu is going to be too big to handle, just like last game. He drops there on the sides, wants to clear out units there on the lower ground, wants to clear out those turrets there as well. But those tanks are sieged in a location that's absolutely amazing for Leebokgu. And those marines also stimming in. He actually kills his own turret there by accident, but he clears out that drop really easily. HamburgerSasu set himself up for potential success by going for a lot of robos there. But supply count is very low compared to George Brown. George Brown is now filling up his base with factories, making sure he's got sufficient production capability to overrun HamburgerSasu soon. Tick tock, tick tock. The clock is ticking, and it's ticking in favor of Leebokgu. The longer this game goes on, although there's a sweet spot. There is a sweet spot. Like, the clock is ticking against Leebokgu. I mean, against HamburgerSasu right now. Because Leebokgu is going to hit terminal... That's not the word. He's going to become unstoppable around the 1330 mark. Just as last game. And another drop there, false flash from HamburgerSasu, coming in from two directions, but both drops get shut down without much effort by Leebokgu, who handles it like a boss. And yeah, as I said, this is even before the 1330 mark. Leebokgu is already maxed out, and he's already moving out at 1240. Because he sees himself the opportunity to go for a counterattack here on HamburgerSasu, and HamburgerSasu is caught with his pants down on the toilet. Because look at him. He doesn't have all that much to defend. Leebokgu is pretty damn big. He's got a lot of tanks. He's got to micro those tanks away from those storms. Not just those storms. The storms are still pretty good though. But none of his units go down there to those zealots or to those storms. And that's another pretty good storm. And this one does get some mileage. Kills 2 Goliaths, 2 tanks. But is not enough. Definitely not enough. HamburgerSasu is in a really bad spot here. Those tanks now sieging up there in the front, threatening his cannons and threatening his robotic facilities. Now raids are coming in there as well to snipe down those shuttles, and I think HamburgerSasu is going to tap out already. I just don't see him hanging in there and pulling out a comeback against this frontal push here from Leebokgu, who honestly handled the drop pressure from HamburgerSasu a little bit too well, because none of it actually hit anything. And I think it all started with that forgotten shuttle that ruined the frontal timed attack with the double reaver. It really ruined it. And I also think that dropping there inside of his base instead of taking down that frontal choke was the wrong choice. Either HamburgerSasu is not in shape today, or Leebokgu is actually just showing us what he's capable of. Because he's improved a lot over the past year. He was already a very good player, but he's really cemented himself as one of the top dogs on the Korean 1v1 fastest scene. He really has cemented himself as one of the top dogs. Yeah, that's a quick 2-0 for Leebokgu. And I actually want to see how the rest of this series plays out. So I'm going to go for game number 3, see how that one pans out. Because I'm kind of curious to see if HamburgerSasu can actually pull off a win here. Or if Leebokgu has just evolved to the next level and is now capable of taking Terran vs Protoss wins consistently off of a player like HamburgerSasu. So yeah, as a downside though, this video is going to become a rather lengthy video because we already cast a game of 23 minutes and a game of 14 minutes. And well, as you might already see from the video length, this one is also going to be about 20 minutes long. I hope that doesn't spoil the end result though. But anyway, let's see how this one is going to play out. Leebokgu is playing the teal Terran cross map. Middle left against middle right. HamburgerSasu on the right, Leebokgu on the left. Leebokgu is the player George Brown, which you already knew because I already said that about 15 times. I don't know why I brought it up again. I just needed something to say, I guess. I just needed something to say. That's it happens sometimes. Something just blurts out. And afterwards you wonder, why did I actually say that? I didn't have to say it. It's kind of redundant information. Leebokgu is George Brown. Redundant information because you already know. HamburgerSasu is HamburgerSasu. Well, you already knew that. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, HamburgerSasu not having a great day against Leebokgu, who is honestly just playing a standard Terran, really. He's not doing a lot of fancy stuff, but he's doing very solid stuff that has been proven to work. It has been proven to work, as we can see. HamburgerSasu is somewhat falling flat with all of his attempts. He's not having much success. Whereas Leebokgu, holding all those attempts by HamburgerSasu, is really getting himself some results, winning 2 Terran versus Protoss in a row, which is usually a matchup favored for the Protoss, because the Protoss is inherently stronger. But this also goes to show that if you have a really great drop defense, and you can build up pretty quick with your base and your mass, that there is a pretty damn good window for a pretty damn good timing counter attack. And that window is around the 12:30 to 13:30, maybe even the 14-minute mark, right before the Protoss hits critical velocity, terminal velocity, right before the Protoss just becomes unstoppable with their production ability. The same could be said about the Terran, though, because the Terran, it seems like the Terran hits that mark just right before the Protoss does, but only given the condition the Protoss goes for a drop spam strategy. And if any of those drops ever hits, the Protoss just leaps ahead. It's just like a giant leap for Protoss kind. Whereas not hitting your drops is like small steps backwards for the Protoss, because you're investing in something, but you're not getting results. And not getting results on an investment is always detrimental to your ability to fight and take home a win. You can kind of interpret it as a slow snowballing effect for the Terran who wants to become bigger, wants to become a death ball that the Protoss can no longer stop. And the last 2 games were a really, really great example of that one. So as is tradition, of course, the Terran discontinues a little bit of his marine production to boost up his economy. So he can start building those 2 command centers here, and Engineering Bay, Academy, more depots, and of course a very early factory coming out there for George Brown. He hasn't made a choke yet, but he doesn't need a choke just yet, because he more or less should know the exact timings at which HamburgerSasu can attack, because Leebokgu kind of plays the same strategies, the same build orders that HamburgerSasu does. With some mix-ups though, because one of the few things that Leebokgu's Protoss is really well known for by this point is his ability to set up. He has really been looking at BrainGod, who is pretty much the master of setups. BrainGod really is the master of setting up a successful attack. Leebokgu has kind of been doing the same thing as of lately, at least with Protoss. With Zerg, I don't know, because I haven't really seen much of a Zerg lately. And with his Terran, I don't know either. Well, because he doesn't do it, pretty much. With Terran, he kind of camps it out. For the first 12.5 minutes until he hits maximum supply cap, and then he goes in for the attack. It's not the most exciting strategy, but it's proven to work. And it can be made exciting if the Protoss starts hitting some of those drops and starts putting the pressure up on the Terran, in which case it can become a very exciting match, but more so because the Protoss is doing such a damn good job at pressuring the Terran. And until now, HamburgerSasu has not yet had much success. Already said that about 15 times, but it's true. And looks like he's going for the same strategy I mentioned last time around. This time he's doing a little bit of a different build order. He's not going with the 2 gateway first for some harassment. He's going for the Nexus first, and then going straight for a double robo on a single gateway. And once the robo's finished, he adds more gateways, gets his Citadel of Dune upgrade, Zealot lags, gets his shuttle speed, shuttle finishes, 2 Reavers are queued up, and then, of course, more Zealots are produced. I really like this strategy, and it can really hit very hard here on the front. Looks like Leebokgu is trying to be a little bit cheeky by putting those Marines there out in the middle. So we could potentially snipe the shuttle if it does decide to come down from the bottom side here. That's why he's got them here. He's expecting the shuttle to come in from this side here to fly over and hit the front here from the side. But he's actually got the shuttle there on the top side. Marines now going in though. They're trying to snipe the shuttle, but the Marines are running straight into the Zealots. And he does almost get that shuttle down, but the Zealots actually force the Marines away just in time, which now means both those Reavers are free to start breaking the wall. And once the wall is broken, he's going to run those Zealots in, and he goes... he tried to go in to kill the shuttle, but all Marines actually go down right before it. So more Zealots are here on the way. He's got nothing in the side robos there, except for a single shuttle. Does have 2 shuttles here. Is he gonna pick up those units? He's gonna pick up those units. And that's exactly what he's gonna do. He's gonna have to put this shuttle in the back though, because it's a low HP. He's gonna go in from the bottom right side here of Leebokgu's base. Leebokgu's Marines are slightly out of position, but he's got them moving already. HamburgerSasu is trying to redirect, trying to find a new way, and he goes in for the choke because he saw that Leebokgu was moving his units away from the choke, which now means the choke is exposed. But Leebokgu is actually killing those Reavers before they can deal real damage, which means that these Zealots here are also not going to get much mileage. So he's forced to pull them back because he couldn't have fought against the bunker and the Marines there with the medics supporting them here in the front. So HamburgerSasu once again forced to pull back, and Leebokgu holds this attack really, really well. He's got more shuttles on the way, Reavers on the way there as well. Storm Upgrade has almost finished. Shuttle speed is finished because we just saw that one. He's got level 1 weapon attack for no level 1 weapon attack. He's now also adding cannons all around his minerals so he can defend those probes against tank drops, which has proven to be something that's really been distracting him in the last couple of games. Leebokgu though is this time around not going for dropships because he's got no control tower added onto his starport. And so about 8 Zealots, 3 shuttles, 2 Reavers. More shuttles are on the way. He doesn't have a Stargate yet. There's Stargates being made here. 2 Stargates, so he can make 2 Corsairs each round. I think he's going to add on more gas soon as well. He's got level 1 weapon upgrade for Zealots on the way now. He's clearing out the sides. Well, he's scouting the sides, and he's going to place pylons on the sides there. Also has a probe there on the top of the map for that carrier proxy that I assume he's going to go and transition into if he does manage to land at least a drop or deal some damage to Leebokgu. Both players are on similar supply. Wall once again re-established there in the front, and Marines spread out all over the base. And a very Marine heavy build here from Leebokgu, which I think is a really great choice because Marines are amazing with defending against shuttles because they can snipe shuttles really easily. But the downside is though, if there's Templars and Reavers inside those shuttles and those shuttles manage to unload, those Marines go down really quick. But let's see what's going to happen. Going to unload there on the top corner. Marines getting stormed, Marines being pulled away. That's a lot of units there. A lot of Templars, a lot of Zealots, a lot of Reavers. He still has... I think he didn't unload one of those Reavers, but he's making some progress. That's a lot of storms there. That's a lot of storms. Killing a lot of... Actually, HamburgerSasu is having a lot of success this time around because those Templars are penetrating through to the back lines. Do they still have storm energy? He has a pretty good storm down there on the SCV, but the SCV's surviving that one. And the Reaver this time here goes down as well. 2 Templars have morphed into an Argon. They've got 12 kills in total, and looks like HamburgerSasu is going for the depots there. A single depot. Now he's going to clear out those Marines. And what looks to be like a really, really hard hit on Leebokgu actually gets repelled with the least amount of casualties on his SCV line as you can possibly imagine. I think he lost about 4 or 5, which is something that doesn't hurt him all that much because he's on 76 SCVs. But on the upside though, I think HamburgerSasu killed about 30 Marines and maybe 3 or 4 tanks there. Now comes in from the bottom side. Of course, they can take it down really quick. Units are unloading right next to the SCV line, but SCVs are dodging and running away. SCVs are brought to safety, which means that now HamburgerSasu can only storm on whatever is left. He storms on a couple of SCVs there on the gas. A couple of Marines there going down as well. Does he have more storm energy? Nope, the Archon goes down as well, and the SCVs returning back to the mineral patch. But another drop already coming here from the top side. It looks like HamburgerSasu is having a lot more success this game, and that one mass drop inside of the top of Leebokgu's base really did a number on Leebokgu, because it at least prevents Leebokgu with going for that 12:30, 12:40, or maybe 13-minute counterattack. So this game is already looking a lot better for HamburgerSasu. Reavers there unloading on the local. That's 4 Reavers. One of the Reavers goes down instantly. The Marines actually take down 2 Reavers, 3 Reavers, before you can get anything done. But there's still 1 Reaver there in the back. Zealots, more of them going down. SCVs have returned to the patch. Most of them still alive. But stuff is being cleared out here on the top side of Leebokgu's base. And HamburgerSasu seems to be back in shape. This is the HamburgerSasu we are used to seeing. Not the HamburgerSasu that gets nothing done for the first 12 minutes. So yeah, I'm glad to see HamburgerSasu somewhat back in shape. Getting himself some results, although he is on 92 probes, which is a lot of probes. Way too many probes. But he's spending his minerals really well. So another drop here coming in from the top side. It looks like Leebokgu used his scan on... Wait, wrong person? Alright, I was too late. I didn't see what he scanned. My bad. But a drop comes in from the top side here, and he is unopposed. Unloads right next to the SCVs, and it gets the no shut off. Miraculously, he kills no SCVs despite unloading 4 Reavers right next to the SCVs. But there's so many tanks here within range of those Reavers that the Reavers pretty much go down instantly. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4 here, and 1 there. So that's about 9 tanks there, capable of instantly shooting on those Reavers the moment they're unloaded. So he gets pretty much done nothing. And pretty smart move, sieging up 6 tanks here on the top side of his base. So at least this portion is now protected as well. Marines now around the command center. And because Leebokgu has not lost any of his SCVs in this entire process of all the drop pressure, he is slowly getting bigger. And HamburgerSasu is also slowly getting bigger, but because he's been investing all of his minerals so quick on frontal attacks and side attacks and drops all this time, he's not as big as he could be if he hadn't. But pretty great unload here behind the wall being taken down by Zealots, but the Zealots now ignoring the wall and just walking straight in because those bunkers look to be empty. But Leebokgu is stimming forward into the bunkers now loaded up, and he's got a couple of Templars there, but I don't know if those Templars have energy for storms. They do, but the Marines ran away just in time. And the mass now being rebuilt there for HamburgerSasu, but George Brown is on the prowl and getting bigger and bigger. He doesn't have enough gas yet though, but he's got a lot of factories now, a lot of barracks, and he is priming to become a force to be reckoned with. 190 supply against 190. Well, almost 190. Both players are just shy of 190. But they're gonna be hitting it very soon. There it is. 200 coming up very soon as well. So a lot of upgrades on the way for both players. HamburgerSasu is on 1-1. Leebokgu is on 0-1, and he's on 0-0 for his tanks, but he does have some armory spread out across a single armory. So only level 1 weapon upgrade for the tanks on the way. Drop coming in from the northern side of Leebokgu's base. This time he's going to make it all the way to the SCV line, and this time he's got 2 Templars there on the local, and he actually gets a pretty damn good storm off, and he kills about 21 of them SCVs. 21 SCV kills is a good pickup. Well, it's something Leebokgu could afford to lose because he's on 2,000 minerals, but it will slow him down by just a tiny bit, and a tiny bit might just be the tiny bit that HamburgerSasu needs to get that tiny bit of an advantage over Leebokgu to crawl himself a tiny bit closer to the game win. That's a lot of tiny bits. I just wanted to say tiny bits. Really, really, really often in a row. Yeah, shuttle's coming in. Ooh, he gets a pretty damn good kill on those Marines with the splash damage from the Zealots by the tanks. And he gets a pretty damn good storm off on those SUVs, killing another 27, no, 34 of them. So it went down from 60 to 28. That's a really good, another Templar there. No more storms. But that was a really good hit. That was the hit that HamburgerSasu needed. That is going to put him in such a comfortable spot to just do whatever he wants. He doesn't need the carriers anymore. He can honestly just keep going with the drops and probably break through with a frontal attack as well. Although there is a command center there, and the command center is pretty beefy. But HamburgerSasu can just walk through this little portion here with his Zealots. But he's opting for the drops first. He's making a carrier proxy on the top there as well. Comes in with another drop once again. But this time the lockdown coming down from Leebokgu, and he stops the shuttles from unloading the temp. He actually got the right one. He got 2 of the shuttles, and this was the important one. Only a single of the Templars managed to unload. The 3 Templars in there. He's not killing the shuttle though. He's coming in to kill it. Will it be on time though? He's pulling his Marines away. No way. No way. Kill it. Please kill it. Leebokgu. Leebokgu, kill the shuttle. There's Templars inside that shuttle. There's Templars inside the shuttle. Alright, he's attacking. Will it go down though? Ghosts are not that quick. Alright, drop comes in from the northern side here as well. This time, no. Once again. And there is the storms from the Templars inside the leftover shuttle. And he kills. I think he killed about 15 of the SUVs there that Leebokgu had, so not all that many. He didn't kill all of them. But Leebokgu not killing that one important shuttle, which of course he didn't know there were Templars in there, winds up being the thing that might have just driven the nails into the coffin. And I kind of want to play the Astronomia song now, but I'm too lazy to look it up while casting. And in he comes from the top side once again. Flies over the Ghost. The Ghosts get a lockdown, but the Templars unload. Templars now storming on top of the SUVs, and he gets some pretty damn good storms off. And this time around, he does kill the remainder of the SUVs. They were on the minerals, and Leebokgu is feeling the pain. HamburgerSasu is having some real success this time around with those Templar drops coming in from the top side of the base that Leebokgu just hasn't been capable of plugging up and defending. 15 SUVs left. Leebokgu is pretty big though. He's got about 120 supply, and he's just gonna say, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. Because it's either he goes in now as a last ditch effort, or he dies. That's pretty much it. It's now or never. And sometimes you just gotta take that shot. HamburgerSasu though is pretty big, and he's got a lot of shuttles loaded up with Zealots. And he can honestly unload those shuttles on top of the tanks and take out most of these tanks. Actually, the Goliaths are taking down some of the shuttles, so that's a pretty good save there. But this is, yeah, this is massive. This is massive. Look at how many tanks went down there. I think about 7 tanks there went down on the bottom side, and more Zealots are quickly spawning inside of HamburgerSasu's base because he's got so many of those gateways. But Leebokgu is not relenting. He's not relenting the pressure. He wants to make this work. Can HamburgerSasu hold this off? I think he can, because he's got the upgrades that Leebokgu does not. Lockdown comes down on one of the shuttles, and most of the units here in the front going down there for both players actually. Leebokgu is losing tanks and Marines. HamburgerSasu is losing Dragoons. But this situation is so much better for HamburgerSasu, because he's got that 89 probes. He's got all the bank, all the money, all the income he needs. He can rebuild his mass very quick, whereas Leebokgu having only 26 SCVs and no gas income, which is a huge marker here, a huge sign that this is pretty much already over. No gas for Leebokgu, means no new tanks, no new Ghosts, no new Goliaths, the units that he needs. So here comes HamburgerSasu, and this should be the final attack. This should be the final attack that killed the monkey. I completely butchered the last one, but yeah, pretty good unload there behind enemy lines. I really like the tactic unloading behind enemy lines. And HamburgerSasu takes home game number 3. So now it's a 2-1 score for Leebokgu. HamburgerSasu really looked more like his usual self here. That was some great pressure. Great pressure. Leebokgu fought well, but not well enough. And there's one more game in this series. So let's head right into the last game. Or is it the last game? Maybe there's 2 more. Let's see. And for the very last, or second to last game in this series, we're getting a mix-up with their races. We've got George Brown here on the Protoss, with HamburgerSasu on the Terran, on the bottom side, middle of the map. So we got HamburgerSasu on his very trustworthy and beautiful Terran, and Leebokgu on his Protoss. So both players are, in my opinion, on what I would call their best races respectively. Although maybe HamburgerSasu's Protoss is better than his Terran, I don't know. I think his Terran is honestly better. I think his Terran is better than his Protoss. And Leebokgu's Protoss is better than his Terran. And so this is going to be one of the more exciting matchups. Because HamburgerSasu's Terran can be very volatile and explosive, but it can also be very brute force, where he tries to butt his head into a wall time and time again and waste a lot of his units. I hope that's not going to be a precursor of what is going to happen. Leebokgu, however, on the Protoss has a very interesting Protoss. He does some wacky stuff, creative stuff, and he's learned the art of the perfect setup for an attack. And he starts off with, it was a 7-9 pylon and a 9-17 gateway, and then a gateway right after that. I'm not sure if he's going for the 2 gateway or 3 gateways. There's pylon number 2 there in the front. I wonder if he's going to make zealots, or if he's going to... Yeah, there's the zealot. The zealot is coming out. I'm not sure what strategy he's going to do, because there's quite a plethora of strategies in his repertoire that he might be going for. Maybe the word is plethora. I'm not sure whether I use that word correctly. He is saving up a lot of minerals though, which leads me to believe there is going to be a second nexus, and there it is. HamburgerSasu, standard 3 barrack build. Of course, gas coming out soon, academy coming out soon as well. But for now, just marines, just barracks, just depots, and marines and SCVs scouting the map. Zealot has found HamburgerSasu's marine. It's on the chase. Pretty good micro from both players there. Zealot stays alive, marines stay alive as well. Now Zealot running around, distracting and opening a hole for these other 2 Zealots that are trying to get in. So they're in the bottom corner. That's pretty smart. Goes in for the SCVs and once again draws HamburgerSasu's attention. Leebokgu gonna try to go in with those 2 Zealots again. HamburgerSasu is smartly keeping his marines close to his command center. Double gas coming out here from George Brown. Got a cybernetics core on the way there as well, and 2 cannons being morphed there in the front. Everything is looking kind of standard. He's using this little nook here in the bottom corner. Stay outside of HamburgerSasu's vision, so we can maybe go in for an attack on those SCVs sometime in the near future. The time is very soon. Should we start to worry? That is the question. Marines moving out. Marines moving away from the SCVs. That is what George Brown was waiting for. This is one of those things that I was talking about when I said that George Brown, aka Leebokgu, has some pretty smart Protoss play. He honestly does. He's got a Citadel of a Dune on the way. before the robotics. But I think the robotics are being thrown down right now. Zealots are moving out here over the middle of the map, trying to draw HamburgerSasu's attention. And now that he's confirmed that the Marines are away from the SCVs, he goes in for the SCVs, which means that the SCVs are the prime target. HamburgerSasu is busy fighting here on the middle, but he now realizes his SCVs are being attacked, so he starts pulling back his Marines back to his SCVs. But he already lost a couple of SCVs to the Zealots. The Zealots are really doing some work here on those SCVs. This one took down 2. This one took down 3, so 5 SCVs lost there, and a lot of lost mining time there for HamburgerSasu as well. And the Zealots here in the front are trying to kill the factory, but I don't think they're going to kill the factory, but they're going to kill the SCV, and now they're going to pull away back to base. While where Leebokgu has started up his 2 robotics, adding on more cannons, got more Zealots there in the front, and is starting his, what do you call it again? Templar's Archive as well. There's no robotics facility here though. HamburgerSasu is making fire bats because he knows he's got to fight against those units. Engineering Bay now on the way there as well for the detection, because it looks, even though he doesn't know, looks like HamburgerSasu, I mean Hamburger Brown. I wanted to say Hamburger Brown. George Brown. Oh, HamburgerSasu, this is one of his famous forced frontal attacks. It is going to pretty much be him headbutting his head into a wall. And it completely falls flat there because there was a lot of Zealots there attacking those Marines and taking focus away from the cannons. And the cannons, pretty much unscathed, kill most of the Marines that HamburgerSasu had. And HamburgerSasu is really small. He's on 25 SCVs, only on +1 command center, no +2 command centers, so it means he's going to stay small for a little while. 42 probes already out for Leebokgu. Got 2 robos finished and 2 reavers on the way. He doesn't have Zealot lags on the way though, but he does have Psionic Storm and 2 Dark Templars on the way, and shuttle speed there being queued up as well. Level 1 weapon upgrade on the way for HamburgerSasu. He's adding on 2 more barracks because he's got to start defending himself against whatever Leebokgu is going to be throwing at him. Also, a scan came down. He scanned the front here, sees that units are being loaded up, and he might even spot the distortion of the graphics that is the Dark Templars. Dark Templars loaded up. He actually intercepts the shuttle. He sees it there. Oh, the Dark Templar is still invisible. Let me just fix that one. There it is. It's a little bit of a vision bug where if a Dark Templar enters a shuttle while you don't have vision of that player in observer mode or replay mode, they become invisible forever. Forever invisible. Until they get detected by something. So yeah, those 2 Dark Templars there inside of HamburgerSasu's base are being quite a bitch. And he gets attacked. Does he have scan? He doesn't have scan upgrade. He gets a scan upgrade. He gets a scan. He kills the Dark Templar, but one of the Dark Templars made it out alive, stays alive, gets there in the bottom corner. He's already used so often in this game. He's trying to get turrets down there in the back. Dark Templars are pretty much forcing HamburgerSasu's units to be there in the back. But now Leebokgu is going in through the front and loads 2 Reavers there on top of the bunker, on top of the tanks. And they're taking down the bunker and the tanks are in the front. He is blocking his own Zealots from getting in though, and his Zealots don't have Zealot lags. So this attack might actually fall somewhat flat, but he kills most of the Marines with the Reaver shots there, which is absolutely horrifying for HamburgerSasu because now his unit count is pretty much down to 2 Marines and a single tank. 3 Marines, sorry, allow me to correct myself. And those 3 Marines get taken, a tank and a Marine gets taken down by, oh, there's another drop here coming. And as well, this is looking like such a beautiful game here from Leebokgu, and such a dumb game from HamburgerSasu by trying to brute force the main, the frontal attack there. A Great Storm there coming down on the SCVs, and there's Zealots everywhere inside of HamburgerSasu's base. He does have a couple of his SCV Marines there coming in for the attack, but he's running away from the Templar there in the back as well. And this shuttle is there playing. He's got another Templar there, and he actually gets, he dodges the storm. But another drop already coming here from the top side. What does he have here? 2 Templars. And another storm already came down from this Templar. And he's actually completely destroying HamburgerSasu with this play. There's so much going on. Leebokgu, your multitasking is insane. It's insane. Come on. Yeah, that's just beautiful stuff. That's just... That game just escalated so quickly. The Dark Templar forcing HamburgerSasu to pull away from the front. Then that beautiful drop there and frontal attack on the front. then running those units in while a drop gets loaded up inside of Leebokgu's base that's flying over the map, coming in from behind, while those units from the front are now moving to the back, and the units from the back getting cleared out, Storm's getting dodged, income is disappearing because he's no longer mining, Templar's there still in the back, and then of course another Templar comes in with a shuttle drop to finish it all off once and for all. This is prime Protoss from Leebokgu here. This is actually prime Protoss material. You don't often get to see him play this style of Protoss in SCW, but when he's on the Korean map, he just pulls out all the tricks he's got up his sleeve and goes hardcore mode. He plays hard mode with Protoss. But thanks for watching. Leebokgu wins this series 3-1. The series turned out to be a lot longer than I had planned for, but it just got a little bit exciting when Leebokgu started winning those TVPs and now even wins the PvG. I'm impressed.